Where are you playing at today?
I'm down in Jacksonville, Florida.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, we're here getting some suits. My sister's getting a wedding, my married this weekend, so getting some good, nice clothes and all that stuff.
Get you all dressed up, huh?
That's right.
All right, you about ready?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to Let's Talk Racing. We got Al Pearce and myself, Roger Brehm, here tonight. We got Ray Black Jr. on the phone with us already from the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. How you doing tonight, Ray?
Oh, I'm fantastic, man. Thanks for having me, Roger, and I appreciate y'all taking the time to talk to me.
Well, I always enjoy getting out there and meeting some of the new guys out there. Granted, you're not new, but you still got a whole lot more to learn out there and having more fun while you do it.
Yeah, that's right.
So, what's your report on how you felt everything went at Martinsville?
You know, I think it was a great race for us. I mean, the weekend probably could have went a little bit better. We struggled through practice. We turned down some good laps from the long runs, but we just couldn't put a good qualifying down, and that kind of frustrated a little bit. But we ended up starting 25th. Wasn't the best start I've ever had. So we could have there was a lot to improve on qualifying trim. But I knew for the race would be really good. So and it ended up paying off, and that's where it matters. So the qualifying don't pay money. So that's what it's about racing. So. Yeah, it was a great truck, man, and the Scuba Life Chevy wheeled up off the corner, and had a lot of bite, so that's what you want there, and it was fun racing. So we just kind of kept the fitters on it and stayed alive, and that's what got us that good finish.
Cool.
Ray, is it tough only running every fourth or fifth weekend or every third or fourth weekend? I'm sure that when the season picks up in the summertime, you'll be more active, but is it difficult to maintain any kind of momentum when you only run 2 or 3 races in the first third of the year, basically?
Yeah, it's definitely tough when you're trying to learn all these tracks and you're trying to get in the rhythm of doing it, because that's the big part of it. You want to stay consistently in the seat and getting seat time. And now that they've been testing, I can't just go down and I look for track on our test truck and go down and make sure I'm on my game each weekend. So that's a tough one, and I was kind of hoping the off time would be in the summer, where I could go out on the beach and boating, but unfortunately it was kind of cold most of the time. So, but it's not bad. My sister's getting married this weekend, and there's a big wedding down in Augustine, and I get to have time to do that. So that's one of the pluses. Some things happen in good timing, so there's ups and downs to it for sure.
So the series doesn't run again until Kansas City in about almost a month or so. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I think it's about May 8th. I think we're going to pull out to go there. So yeah, it'll be. And I like mile and a half, so I think it'll be fun to go there and get a good finish.
And then you go from there to Charlotte, I think, with a couple weeks in between. And
it's the weekend afterwards. Yeah.
Oh, is it the week after? Okay. And then things kind of get busy because then you'll be into the summer. So when you go to a place that, now you've raced at Martinsville before, right? This is not your first time.
But when it's our second time.
Yeah. Are there any tracks coming up, Ray, where you will be basically a rookie, where you've never been before?
Well, yes. The next two, I haven't been to Kansas. I haven't been to Charlotte. I've never done a road course. I've never raced dirt. I'm just kind of going down the list here. This entire season is going to be an incredible learning curve for me.
I guess I'm getting at is there any way you can prepare for Kansas City and Charlotte, not having been there? I mean, can you look at videos of old races, or can you talk to people, or how do you prepare for a place you've never raced before?
Usually my buddy has iRacing, so I get on his computer, and we'll go out and look at the track and look at all the marks I got to hit, and then I'll watch footage of each of the past races they've had there and see what works well, during long runs, and if they start moving up towards the wall. And those things you definitely want to know, because they run at the same time of year, so everything's kind of almost the same. As long as the temperature's about the same, then it's going to be a fairly, you can look back on it. So it's definitely a video comes a lot into it. But I think getting there, once you get on the track, and then get some laps on my belt, that's you really can't substitute appreciate that. But anything you can do in the meantime, I guess, helps.
But does iRace help that much? The computer simulation?
Actually, yeah.
Does it really?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I kind of drive with my butt, so it definitely, it's obviously not going to be realistic at any means, but the visualization of it and the tracks, how the bumpiness is, and there's how there's dips in the track, it's very realistic on that standard. So, yeah, I mean, thumbs up to those guys. They did a great job of looking at the track and getting it really spot on. And you learn a lot from there, and it's cool because you've never seen a place. And if you want to start racing, iRace is a great tool to help you get into these bigger tracks and just kind of learn what's going on.
But when you go to Kansas in a month or so, is there a particular driver you'll go to and say, hey, listen, my first time here, I don't want to make a fool of myself or get anybody in trouble. What do you recommend? Who would you go to if you could ask anybody out there how to drive that track in Kansas?
I don't really mingle with the drivers, but I'd say, my spotter, he's a Cup spotter. He spots for Paul Menard, and he's awesome, man. And he knows all these tracks like the back of his hand, so it's crazy. So anything I need to do or do different or that I'm doing wrong, he will let me know on the spot, and then I'll, slowly make adjustments during the race or practice or whatever I have to do. And yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for him, I don't think I'd be doing as good as I have been. I'm not patting myself in the back or anything, but he's a big help for me.
So who's your spotter now? I know you said he's with Paul Menard.
Oh, Stevie Reeves.
Oh, okay.
Stevie, yes, sir. He's a great guy. I mean, he's awesome. He's a great help. He likes to dive too, so we have something in common, so we can talk a little bit. It's cool. It's a good relationship we're building right now.
Now, that's a personal question. Now, I know you like diving a lot. Are you going to be one of these guys when you eventually get married, you're going to be out there doing an underwater marriage?
Negative. No, that's not going to happen. I have to get married first, but no, I don't think I'd do that. I like maybe a little bit more classic. I'm a little classy on that one, but yeah. These weddings are expensive. I'm looking at the bills for some of these things, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to get married anytime soon.
Do like I do. Just go to the JP and get it done there with a couple of friends, and that's it. Go party afterwards later.
Yeah, we'll fly out to Vegas and it'll be fun.
You say you're in Jacksonville this weekend?
Yes, sir. I'm up in Jacksonville actually getting some suits. So.
Which part of town will the wedding be in?
It'll be in St. Augustine, Florida, so it's a little bit south of Jacksonville.
Where?
It's a beautiful town, St. Augustine.
Oh, know it well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's
Know it very well.
City in America, so yeah, it's an awesome city. It's beautiful.
Just a little bit south of Ponte Vedra Beach, just a little bit north of Palm Coast.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
St. Augustine's a nice town. It's an old town.
Very nice.
Yeah, old town, but you'll be good.
I'd have to look at a map, see if I've actually ever been there or not. But
yeah, it's just south of Ponte Vedra Beach and just north of Palm Coast. It's America's oldest still established living city. Something like that.
Right.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Now, where are you from originally? Tell us kind of how you got into racing. Give us some of your background on how you got where you are.
All right. Well, I was born in Alabama, in Montgomery, Alabama, and I lived there for about 10 to 12 years, and with my mother, and then I ended up getting the opportunity to move down with my dad, who lived in Mobile at the time, Mobile, Alabama. And then eventually, he ended up moving to Jacksonville and started working over here, so I got to come over here with him. And then, that was the first time I ever thought about racing. It was just when I got here, and so some of my friends knew about it, and I watched the race. It was a 500. And then I just kind of got hooked on it. So, we had like a mule, a little go-kart around the farm we had, so I'd drive around all day, and then I'd wreck it a lot, but I had fun. And eventually, I just kind of asked my dad, he'd help me out with it. And first he didn't want to, but he kind of came around after I was just being mean about it. I was like, I gotta get the race car. Finally, he put me in it, and we did some good things and had some championships and had some fun. And then he seemed, I loved it, and I was good at it. So, he kind of let me take the reins on it, and then he hired a team with me in late models, and there's one guy that helps me in late models. I mean, I've had a lot of great people help out, but Rusty's kind of been there the entire time, and he's been my crew chief since I can remember in late models, and he's still with me today. He goes to all the truck races with me and helps me out, anything I need. So it's awesome. We're always loyal to whoever helped us, you know, and he's been one of those guys. And yeah, I did late models for a while, and then I stopped racing for 2 years when I turned 18. And I ended up going to get my instructors for commercial diving and scuba diving. And then I got my opportunity to get back into racing. I jumped on it, and now here I am.
So did you go to high school in Jacksonville?
I went to middle school in Jacksonville, and then I moved down to Flagler Beach, Palm Coast area, and then I went to high school down there.
Flagler Beach. There's a great place there called Snapjacks.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
And there's a big restaurant there called Martin's.
Yes, Martin's. You know, actually right next to Martin's is called Oceanside, and it's the best restaurant in Flagler Beach. So if you ever get down there, you got to check it out.
Oh, I'm there. I'm there. I've got friends who live in that area. I'm there a lot. Right down where the pier comes in, you come down 95, you get off on Route 100, and you take a left, and you go to the ocean. You take a right and go to Daytona Beach, right with the ocean right beside you. So I know the area. I know the area pretty well.
Yeah, it's awesome down there.
Yeah, it's ocean on one side and marshland on the other. It's pretty cool. Well, have a good time with the wedding this weekend. This is your sister's wedding?
Yes, she's finally getting married, so I'm excited for her. You know, it's going to be a great time, and a lot of people, you know, friends, family come, so it'll be a fun bonding time. Getting to see everybody back again.
Do you ever go to Jack's Raceways?
Well, they closed down.
Okay, I wasn't sure how long ago they closed. I know that years and years ago when I went to Daytona every year, I'd stop in there on a Thursday or Friday night and watch the dirt track races. I don't know. I wasn't sure how long they've been closed.
I think they closed down. They're trying to get it reopened, but I'm not sure if they got it reopened yet. But I've always heard that there's always problems with it, and they're just not having a good time. So hopefully they can get it back up and running successfully.
Okay. And one last question for me. You grew up in Alabama. You're an Auburn fan or an Alabama fan?
Roll Tide, man.
All right. This may not impress you one bit, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I took Eli Gold to his first NASCAR race.
Oh yeah?
In 1977, Eli Gold lived up here in Hampton, Virginia, where he was a hockey broadcaster.
Okay.
He is an extraordinarily good hockey announcer, and he had gotten an invitation from MRN to come to Daytona in July of '77 to audition. And he called me. I worked at the local paper here covering NASCAR. He called me and said, "How do I get to Daytona Beach? Where do I go? What do I do?" I said, "Well, you and Claudette come with me, and I'll take you down there." And I took Eli, literally took him to his first race, got him credentialed, got him settled in, got him a hotel room, the whole deal, and the rest, as they say, is history. But Eli and I go back, whatever 1977 is to right now, and he was a great hockey announcer before he ever did college football. So if you ever see him, ask him about his hockey announcing career.
All right, I will. Yeah, he's a good announcer, man. He's famous. So.
Yeah, he's a great Alabama guy too.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, well, let me go ahead and let you get out of here, Ray. Go ahead and get a quick shout out to your sponsors, and I'll be getting back up with you another time.
All right, thank y'all. Roger now, yeah, I think for Scuba Life, man, they put this whole deal on in Promotion Diving Academy. So, yeah, thanks for y'all. And yeah, if you want to go find me on Twitter and Instagram, it's Ray Black Jr. So, you know, if you want to go find me and follow me, that's how you do it. So, thanks for everybody's support.
Cool beans. Talk to you later then.
All right, bud. Take it easy.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, who we got next, baby?
Andy. They'll be calling in just a moment. So you said some pretty good testing going on up there at Richmond.
Yeah, how good it was. It was cold and damp, and it was spritzing a little bit of rain when I got there around 11:30 or 12. They were late getting started. They had a fairly nice turnout of cars. I don't know that anybody even gets excited about test speeds anymore. But the 2 car was there. The 3 was there, the 6 was there with Bain, Gordon, Stewart was there, Martin Truex was there, Allmendinger was there, the 18 car was there, but I'm not sure who was in it. I don't know whether it was
Reagan or somebody
David Reagan or somebody else. I don't know. It had Denny Hamlin listed as being there, but I didn't see the 11 car. So Hamlin might have been in the 18. But like I say, it was rainy and chilly and a little bit blustery, so I don't know that they got a whole lot out of it. But you know, when you give them an open test, that's what they're going to do. And most of them were leaving from Richmond and flying straight to Texas, so there's not a whole lot of free time.
Brandon Godovic going to race his first Xfinity race.
Yeah, I knew that.
So you were just sort of shucking and jiving.
Oh, of course, I knew that 2 weeks ago. I just was told not to announce it.
Oh.
Well, you know, he's raced at Kentucky, which is 1.5 miles. He's raced at, I don't know where else he's raced in ARCA, but he is qualified to run 1.5 mile track. So I would suspect that he's taking some money into that team to get a ride. Hope he does well. You know, he's a pretty good K&N driver.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
pretty good local late model driver.
Yeah.
Pretty good legend driver.
Yeah.
Runs modifieds, so.
And now that new series he's running.
Yeah, that Lamborghini sports car deal. Yeah. I don't know much about that, but.
That would be fun.
Well, I guess it'll be fun. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of money involved when you're racing a Lamborghini on road courses. So. But it was nice, I guess, for those teams to get a weekend off. To the best of my memory, NASCAR has shied away from racing on Easter and Mother's Day as long as they could. I know they raced at Easter one time in Atlanta because of a rainout. Bobby Allison won and said he'd rather be in church. Well, he just won the race, but I'd rather be in church. But I don't know if that's how true that was. So they just picked, you know, Easter's always been a traditional weekend off. So I hope they all had a nice rest because it's going to get busy from here on. They do Texas, Bristol, Richmond, Charlotte, Dover, Pocono, Michigan, Sonoma, Daytona Beach, Kentucky, New Hampshire, before they get another break. So they go about 12 weekends in a row coming up.
Let's talk racing. How's it going tonight, Andy?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. You got myself and Al Pearce hanging out here. How's being P1 working for you here lately?
Well, we had it briefly at Caraway, and you know, we won that race, but the other two races so far this season, we found some trouble. So it's a little bit hard defending the crown. You know, last year we completed all but one lap, and there's only been one race we completed all the laps in this year. So a little bit different, but had a fast car every week. Been real happy and looking to rebound again at Langley like we did for the second Caraway race.
Cool. Are you going to be here with us at the race this weekend?
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Then we'll have to come by and give you a hard time.
Come on by, we got plenty of time.
So give a little background for the people that haven't heard about you yet, and let them know where you started at and how you got to where you are and what you're looking to do later on in life.
Yeah, you know, just a race fan growing up, had a go-kart and ran around the neighborhood. One day I was lucky enough, my parents took me to an oval go-kart race not too far from the house, and I said, you know, this is what I want to do. And, about a year later, we were racing go-karts. It took me a little while to get into victory lane, so it wasn't until my fourth year of racing that we won, and kind of once everything clicked, we hit the ground running, winning a lot of go-kart races, multiple championships. Got to go race at Star Speedway, my first time in a full-size car, which was a 350 Super Modified, which is like an SK Modified version of a Super Modified with a wig. and won Rookie of the Year, won some races, caught the eye of some local businessmen, and been very fortunate to be in modified since, driving for Jerry Morello, and then my own family team, the Rockingham boat number 70, that a lot of people are familiar with. Then get to ride with Riggs Racing down here in the Southern Tour. Won a lot of races, competed for championships, but didn't secure a championship until hooking up with Eddie Harvey and the Phoenix Pre-Owned team. So last year we finally got one after lots of wins, but kind of inconsistent. But last year the consistency paid off. Won the Whelen Southern Modified Tour Championship. And, so far this year, 3 races, we got 1 win and 2 DNFs. So checkers and records we're taking pretty literally this year, I guess. At least we got the 1 win. There's no better feeling in the world than winning a race, that's for sure.
So where you race out of, and where you actually come from?
I'm from Hampstead, New Hampshire originally, and lived in the Northeast for 26 years, and then made the commitment once I was driving for Eddie Harvey, his race shops out of Lexington, North Carolina. So packed up my stuff and moved to North Carolina to be, working in the shop more and being with the team. And, it's paid off. Last year, obviously, you get the ultimate prize in racing. But, I just left the shop. Eddie's got me working there a few days a week. I also work on boats. Also got my hands in on some ARCA stuff, trying to build an ARCA team up. So I keep busy in racing, and that's one of the awesome things about living in the Charlotte area in North Carolina. And, definitely something you couldn't do back in New Hampshire.
So what's your aspirations you plan on trying to get up into Cup? Anything along those lines?
Yeah, definitely a dream. I want to see how I rate up against the world's best drivers. I want to run Daytona. Daytona's kind of the dream. Got to go there with the ARCA series this year and attempt to qualify my first time in Daytona. And that's kind of just it. Every little kid's dream is that super speedway and, the Daytona 500, which obviously is a Cup Series event. So that's the other reason moving down here is knocking on doors, clawing my way to race cars. I got the opportunity to do the ARCA stuff, to do some truck stuff. Pretty excited. I got invited to the Denny Hamlin Showdown, the Celebrity Showdown this year at South Boston Speedway in a few weeks. So that's pretty neat. And again, all stuff that's, hard work and, kind of making sacrifices moving down here away from my family is starting to pay off.
Andy, I'm sure there was a culture shock moving from New Hampshire to North Carolina. Primarily, you can't get Dunkin' Donuts down here. You have to go for Krispy Kreme. I know that up in New Hampshire, you can't drive a half a mile without a Dunkin' Donuts shop. So that's something you had to kind of get used to, wasn't it?
Well, the good news is,
Uh-oh.
I live in Salisbury, North Carolina, 1 mile from Dunkin' Donuts. And they just added a second one in Salisbury, which I don't know any southern town that have 2 Dunkin' Donuts. So it's like they knew that we moved in here and there was a demand for it. But not picking on the southern Dunkin' Donuts, but it's not quite the same as a Dunk's coffee at home.
Okay. Now, when you mentioned your hometown in New Hampshire, and I didn't quite hear where it is, and about all I know in New Hampshire, I know where Concord and Loudon and Meredith are, and I know where Keene is. What part of New Hampshire were you from?
I'm from over by the seacoast, just over the Massachusetts line. So, it's a small blue-collar town, not a whole lot of businesses there. My parents own a boat repair and sales business, Rockingham Boat, in there. And it's been a pretty neat journey to start out in that small town and just build race cars and stuff with my dad in the shop and to make it as far as I have. Like I said, we were just small town people. It's been amazing the support that I've gotten from everybody there in the trip down. And a little bit of a culture shock, I never thought that I lived in the country. I thought, North Carolina, South Carolina, well, that's where rednecks live and it's in the sticks and all that. And, I'm living in the city down here, and a friend of mine came back with me to New Hampshire for the Loudon weekend, and you know, he turned to me when we got close, and he says, "Where do you live? We're in the middle of nowhere." I never thought of it like that. You know, it's about 45 minutes from Boston and a half hour from Manchester, New Hampshire. So I never thought it was a small little town, but it is. And it's pretty neat like that. And, definitely a culture shock, but we were traveling down to North Carolina quite a bit. I won't eat seafood here, and not insulting you guys. I know you're on the coast, but we're 5 hours inland where I am now. So growing up on the coast, you miss stuff like that, the real fresh seafood. And when we go to Langley, we make it a point to spend an extra couple days there, either before or after, and enjoy the beach and get some seafood and all that stuff. But definitely life's a little different.
You may or may not know that the man who actually runs Langley, not Chuck Alder from Motor, but the guy Bill Mullis who runs Langley, has a fleet of scallop boats. He is.
Well, me and Mr. Mullis have talked about
okay.
quite a bit.
Okay.
I've been fortunate enough to just kind of have a knack for that track, and got to spend time in Victory Lane there, and that's where our conversations always turn to, is different seafoods, and so we have a lot in common. We're from the coast, love seafood, love racing. And Mr. Mull is definitely one of the hardest working men I've ever met or spoke to. He does a little bit of everything, and just been a neat relationship to get to know him through the years.
Andy, I assume that being from where you're from, the drivers I've talked to from up the Northeast, to them, anything at Loudon is almost like Daytona. Or anything when they used to run Oxford Plains, that was a big deal. Did you grow up sort of thinking Oxford Plains is a huge deal, Stafford's a huge deal, Waterbury was a big deal? What was the big deal growing up for you from a racing perspective in New England?
Well, the big thing for me, my two home tracks are Star Speedway and Lee Speedway.
Oh, okay.
And I grew up most Saturday nights at Star Speedway, and there was a big following with the super modifieds, and that's what I always dreamed about being. But before I knew, and of course the Oxford 250 was huge, Loudon was huge, but before I knew what the Daytona 500 was, I was absolutely obsessed with the Star Classic, which was a 200 lap super modified race the weekend after Labor Day weekend. And, you know, people from all over the country in super modifieds came. And I still have yet to do that race, and that's something on my bucket list. I've moved away and I don't get to attend it, but I would love to do it. The Oxford 250 was huge, and I got to win the night before the 250, just like midgets run the night before the 500 out in Indianapolis. They run modified Saturday night before the Oxford 250, and to win the night before the 250 was pretty cool. But yeah, Loudon, I'm even calling it Daytona. Not just the way that the modifieds race there with restrictor plates and stuff, but the emphasis we put on that, and being from New Hampshire, that I still get chills walking through the tunnel. And I grew up racing, one of the go-kart tracks was Sugar Hill Speedway, about 20 minutes from there. And we would race on Saturday nights. Most of us would go Saturday afternoon to watch the modified. Then we'd go to Sugar Hill and race the go-kart Saturday night. And I remember being a 13-year-old kid and everybody kind of talking. I just want to be like
hang on just a minute.
There, and I'm very lucky to
put you on hold.
have the opportunity to.
If you raced at Star and Lee a lot, I bet you know, or I bet you have met or read things written by my good friend Al Robinson.
Yes, sir.
You know Al? Did you know Al? You know his health is not really great right now, but he's getting along pretty well. So it's amazing. You can talk to anybody in the Northeast about short track racing, and you bring up Al Robinson's name, and they know him, they love him, they've worked with him, they've been interviewed by him in Victory Lane or wherever.
Hey, what's going on?
He's quite a guy.
Hang on, Ryan.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things that people think New England, and yeah, there was Thompson, there was Stafford. For whatever reason, there's a line through Massachusetts where those guys kind of keep the southern New England and we keep the northern New England. And Star Speedway, to me, was the proving grounds. If you had anything, you had to go to Star Speedway. Not a big motor track, big on handling, big on being disciplined as a driver, not overdriving the track. And, just such a following in the late 90s and early 2000s where I really started to fall in love with the sport. It was really neat. If you were anybody, or you thought you were anybody, you had to go to Star Speedway to prove it.
Well, in this area of Virginia, if you think you're anybody, you got to come to Langley and prove it. So, good luck to you Saturday night. They'll have a full house. They'll have a huge crowd. The weather will be great, and it'll be fun watching you guys run up here.
Yeah, thank you. I always look forward to running at Langley. Like you said, the crowd so enthused and involved with the races. Beautiful facility, puts on great racing. Last year we had a second and a third, so we got to improve that by one spot.
Well, have a safe trip coming up here. I don't know that right now I'm trying to remember, there's got to be a Dunkin' Donuts up here close by somewhere, and between now and Saturday night I'll find it for you.
Oh, there's not one that far from here.
There is right near the hotel we stay at. We
okay.
But we're going to sleep.
Riverdale Shopping Center.
All right, there you go.
Hey,
okay.
Andy, I got somebody else that just called in. I don't know if you guys know each other. Andy, this is Ryan. Ryan, this is Andy.
Hey, how's it going? What's up? Yeah, I've run into him a time or two.
Just a time or two, huh? All right. We'll go ahead and let you get out of here, Andy. We're going to go ahead and have some fun here with Ryan as well.
All right, Ryan. Congratulations on this past weekend. Thanks, Andy. All right, you guys have a good one.
See you this weekend.
Yes, sir.
Were you expecting that, Ryan?
No, I don't know.
We sometimes have you guys roll over each other. Somebody gets a little long-winded, and you came in on time, so I said, that's why I put you on hold, and I said, oh, let's let you listen a little bit.
Yeah, I gotcha. That's cool.
Anyway, we've got Ryan, and if I remember, is it Preece?
It's Preece, yep.
Preece, all right. I hate that. You have one of those names. We'll have to have you on here more often so I can remember it. Anyway, driver in the NASCAR Southern Modified Touring Series as well. Go ahead and give us a little background about yourself, what you got going on lately, and what you're hoping to go to.
So far this past season, I've ran the first 3 Southern Tour races, twice with PS Haulers, which is the team I'll be running up here in the North Series with, and then this past weekend with Kevin Bono Mannion and Gary Putnam's 7NY. Except we were fortunate enough to have curb records on and Menards and curb records number is number 98, so we decided to run it and get them a win this weekend. It was pretty cool. So. We got a lot going on. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it to Langley. We primarily running the Northern Wheel Modified Tour. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get down to Langley in time to be able to run that race as much as I wanted to. So I'm kind of hoping it's going to rain. But we got a lot going on for this year, and I'm sure we'll be back to run some Southern races before the year's out.
Well, good. Any plans going further ahead in your career?
We're trying. I've raced 3 nationwide races with Tommy Baldwin Racing, and it just seems it's not as easy, or I shouldn't say it was ever easy, but it's not quite like it used to be. It seems like, from what I've heard, it's hard to really get an opportunity. Which to be honest with you, Tommy gave me a real opportunity, but to find an opportunity like that I was given and we're still trying to find sponsors to be able to make it, so Tommy can do it. And but the way it is right now, it's so hard to come up with the money for a team to go racing, And right now, a lot of the teams look for the driver to bring the sponsor, and obviously, if I owned a race team, I'd probably want to do the same thing. But right now, I'm just trying to race as much as I can, win races, basically get my name in the record books a lot, and hopefully, maybe I'll stumble upon a big sponsor one day. But right now, I have a lot of support from East West Marine, a guy out here in Long Island. He owns he sells a bunch of stuff for like bulkheads and basically anything that gets destroyed during a hurricane. If you ever want to build a dock or anything, you should call East West Marine. But I'm fortunate enough to race for all the teams I do, like TS Haulers and Stafford, Thompson, Riverhead, and the MRF series, Coma series, the ROC series. Pretty much everything we can go to with those race cars, we pretty much go to.
Cool. Now, seems like Andy was also up from the northeastern section of the country here. Is it? Are you living down now in the Carolina area, or are you still up in New York area?
No, I live in Connecticut actually. I've lived in the same town since I was born, so I really don't plan on moving down there or anything unless something comes about. I like living up here, but the only way I would ever end up moving down there is if an opportunity came along to further my racing career.
Out of Berlin, Connecticut. Now I see.
So, Ryan, I assume that you were thrilled that the Patriots won.
Yeah.
And
I think my mother was a little bit more thrilled than I was, though.
And equally thrilled that UConn women won last night.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, but I mean, the women winning in UConn for the championship deal, that's pretty much almost every year, so it's not as exciting. If the men won it, it would be a little bit more exciting because it's more of a rare occasion.
Well, they won last year, so,
I know, but I'm talking like the women, they've won, what was it, they won last year, they didn't win the year, I mean, pretty much, they've won quite a few.
Yeah.
It's more, I don't know, they're pretty much, we intend on them to win.
Do people down south underestimate the dedication and involvement of racing up in New England? Do people down here not give you guys enough credit for what y'all do, over a season or so? I mean, you have to kind of prove yourself every now and then?
No, I don't know. I mean, whenever I come down south, I show up to race and race to win. And I think, all the guys I race down there, they know. I mean, as far as in the modifieds goes, the Northern Tour is pretty much that prestige. If you win on the Northern Tour, it's looked up to, you know what I mean? So, but anytime we show up down south, it's a different style of racing, and those guys are real tough. I mean, Bert and Andy and George and obviously the Myers and basically all those guys, they're real stout, especially when it comes to shaving tires. So it's a little bit different, but as far as feeling like we got to prove ourselves or anything from up in New England, I think it's probably the toughest competition you're ever going to get. I mean, anywhere throughout the country. I hear people say it all the time, saying about their home track being tough, but I mean, you have Stafford, Thompson, and Waterford, which Stafford Motor Speedway basically has the entire NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour running weekly, and multiple champions that are multi-winners, and it's not easy to go to a weekly track and win up here, and I think that's just because there's a lot of hard work and dedication and a lot of heart that goes into the sport up here, and for the love of modified.
Were you, and forgive me for not knowing how old you are, but I'm just going to ask a question. Were you into racing? Were you aware of modified racing when they used to come to Martinsville and run 500-lap races at Martinsville back in the 60s and early 70s?
I mean, I'm only 24 years old.
Okay, I mean,
wasn't around then.
But certainly you heard about that. Do you ever hear stories about those races when Bodine and Evans and Bug Stevens and Jerry Cook and those guys came down here, and they would run 500 laps at Martinsville, on as part of the modified tour. And I think my original question was, do you wonder whether Southern fans appreciate what you guys do? They packed the house at Martinsville back then. I think Southern fans still love modified racing. Ray Hendrick used to be a big star down this way, and I think fans would turn out at Martinsville again if they ever had a big modified show at Martinsville.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I remember. I've actually been fortunate enough to win at Martinsville, and that was in a modified for, I think it was 2009. It was actually 2008, and there was a big crowd then. But I think if they brought the modifieds under the lights, I think it would be big, and I would love to see the modifieds at Martinsville. I hear about people saying it all the time, and I wish we would go back, and hopefully next year or the year after, it'd be pretty cool to go back. I think for probably about, I don't know, 6 or 7, six or 5 or 6 years ago, people were starting to talk a little negative about modifieds, and it seems like as far as the fans go for modifieds, it seems like it's growing and growing again, and a lot of people are getting back into short track racing and wanting to support the local track. But at the same time, I think a lot of Southern people, they're going to want to go, to a track like Martinsville if the Northern boys are going to come down and race against their Southern boys, So it would be pretty cool to see us back there. And I've always ran pretty well at Martinsville, and I've always liked racing it there. So if we can get back there, that would be pretty awesome.
Now, how long was the race that you won? How many laps?
I think it was 300.
Okay. If you can imagine a 500 there, everybody who's anybody came down for 500 laps at that place, and it was quite a show.
Yeah, I bet. It sounds it.
Now, how much of a part-time are you going to be running in the Southern Modified Touring Series? Because right now you're second in points. How much is that going to give you a hit when you start missing races?
Yeah, it is what it is. I wish there wasn't conflicts where I could pretty much dedicate on going to the whole tour, but we're planning on going to Bowman Gray with TS Haulers number 6. I'm planning on going back to South Boston. I'm planning on going to Charlotte, and I'd like to go to Hickory, and I think there's one other race that I might be able to get to, but I'm going to end up missing 2 races at least. So it's, as far as points goes, it's really not in the cards, but there's plenty of awards to pick up and plenty of races to contend for wins for. So I always have a good time when I go down and race with those guys. It's always pretty good, clean racing, and we all race hard and have some fun.
You think you're going to make the second Langley race then?
I think that's the one that I was talking about. That's the one I was thinking about. It's early September. I don't think we have a race going on that weekend. I got to double check, but if we're not doing anything and Eddie texts me and says he wants to go racing, we'll be there.
Cool.
You mentioned a few minutes ago that there was a brief period of time when modified racing was not really looked at with great favor. You said there was some talk about it. I wonder whether it was sort of like UConn's women when they win so much. When Mike Stefanik was winning everything year after year after year, you think maybe there might have been a drop-off in interest knowing he was going to probably win again?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay, okay.
I think Mike just had his stuff together and he was with the right team, and obviously he was a great driver, so he just got stuff done. But there's a lot of people that would have liked to see him, drive through the pack and get to the front. And obviously there's always going to be some people that don't like it. So it's just the way it is, and I don't think that hurt. I think it was just more of it's just the way things go sometimes. After 10, 15 years, people love dirt, and then 10, 15 years they go back to asphalt. It's just the way the world works.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Now, I got a quick question about South Boston. Did you, apparently you got the pole and you finished, of course, the last lap. Did you take and do all the laps?
What was that?
Did you lead all the laps at South Boston?
Yeah. We led every lap under green. I think J.R. Bertuccio was credited for leading one lap, but that was because we were the last pit stall, so he crossed the line first going to his pit stall. But yeah, we had a really stout piece.
Sounds like you had fun that night, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely fun when you're out front leading the whole race, not chasing somebody else.
You ever talk to anybody about possibly getting to go do the Denny Hamlin Foundation charity race down there? That's South Boston?
Yeah, Tommy Lemons Jr., he texted me about 2 weeks ago. I was working on my SK, and he texted me, and he was saying, hey, we're going to do it this year, and I would love to do it with him again. I was fortunate enough to race with him last year, but as far as making it happen, it comes down to, like I said earlier, with moving up, it takes some sponsors and some money to do it, and unfortunately, everything we have going on here is going into modifieds and putting the biggest foot forward to trying to win championships and win races up here. So right now, unless there's some local deals down there that want to help out and put me in Tommy's car, it doesn't look like I'm going to be getting down there.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and let you get out of here. Let you go ahead and do a shout out to your sponsors.
Yeah, I got to thank TS Ballers, Eddie Partridge, and Connie Partridge, East West Marine, Hoosier Tire, Calverton, Race Electronics, SK Rodden, Pergola Race Fuels, or Pergola Performance Systems, Snowco Race Fuels, and Simpson Racewear, and everybody else that helps out. I can't thank them enough, and hopefully I'll be back on another time.
All right. We'll catch you again another time on the show then.
For sure.
See you later.
Talk to you later.
Bye. Let's talk racing. How's it doing, Cole?
Good, how are you?
Oh, starting to get a little hungry. I'm starting to sound like Al Pearce next to me here. You've probably talked to him a time or two.
Be nice. I've talked to his father a lot.
Okay.
I don't know if I've met the young man yet. I'll meet him this weekend, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead and give everybody a quick bio about your racing career and give us some of your ideas of where you're hoping to go to from here.
Right now, so far in my career, I've done. I started in quarter midgets when I was 5, and then I moved up into focus midgets, then in the late models, and then K&N, and now I'm running a partial truck season. So, goals in the future, I guess, in this season would be to win some races and hopefully, be up front in every single one and be competing for wins. And I think, that's kind of our outlook for the year.
You already got some ideas working for moving up yet?
We'll see in the future. We don't really know for sure yet on anything, so we're just kind of focused on this year right now.
Well, you're racing with JR Motorsports, correct?
Yes.
How's the team shaping up for you with that?
It's been really good so far. It's a lot similar of a team, similar guys from what we had last year, of the guys working on it. So it's been pretty smooth with that. And the shop space they give us is really great. Everything's been pretty smooth, and it's been really great being a part of the team. And you can see why they're so successful in the Nationwide Series, or Xfinity Series now.
Now, have you turned 18 yet, or are you still 17?
I'm 17 right now.
Okay. And I see you originally came from California?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Southern California, around LA.
Okay. So, how did you get your way into the truck series? Was it? Did you get in touch with somebody you knew, or did somebody find you?
When we were running K&N, we had some success, and we were trying to find somewhere to run, and we started on with Turner Scott Motorsports last year, and that deal started, kind of fell apart last season, and we were looking for somebody to run, and JR Motorsports was, one of the people that we were looking for, and we were really happy to get to, work the deal with them.
Now, I understand you're also the youngest pole winner in the NASCAR Touring Series history. Is that correct?
Yes.
And where did that happen at?
That happened at Gateway.
He's also the youngest winner
Yeah.
in Touring Series history. At Loudon. Was it Loudon? Was it last year or the year? Yeah, last year. At Loudon.
Yeah, it was Loudon last year, and we won the pole at Gateway earlier in the year, and those were the two youngest things.
Now, you're running the full truck series this year. I think that's correct.
Yeah, we're just running a partial schedule.
Oh,
We're
partial.
running
Okay.
10 races.
Are you going to Kansas in the next race?
No, we can only run the short tracks because of my age and the
Oh, that's right.
the course race.
That's right. So then your next race will not be until...
Dover in like a month or so, I think it is.
Yeah, okay, okay. Now, once you turn 18, will you then be sort of cleared to go to the next level, or do they still want to look at you before you get to move up?
They still want to, approve you, but I think, I think I can pretty much, go up and be free into when I turn 18.
And when will that be?
I'll turn 18 when I am in January next year.
Oh, so you still got a ways to go yet. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
The young kid on the block.
Is it kind of frustrating to know, I mean, you've won a race, you've won a pole, you've obviously shown you can get the job done, you've got a pretty stable support system. Is it kind of frustrating to let age kind of be the thing holding you back? Does it kind of irk you a little bit?
I mean, it's definitely, NASCAR is lucky enough to, let us young guys at 16 run at these short tracks. So, I mean, I'm thankful for that. And obviously, when you win a race and, you think you can probably compete with those guys at bigger tracks, but I'm not, I still have a lot to learn, especially at the short tracks, and I think it's not the worst thing in the world for me to, still be restricted a little bit.
But what do you do on, I mean, I know you attend a lot of cup races because your father's involved, but what do you do on weekends when you can't race?
Usually just hang out with friends, I'd say, just doing whatever, and I go to the shop a lot during the week, so that pretty much keeps me busy a lot.
I mean, do you look for rides? Do you look for late model rides or legend rides, or do you go out looking for a ride, or do you have to just accept what comes your way?
Well, there's not a ton of people that will, just go out there and give you a ton of rides, but definitely, I mean, I'll drive anything if you want me to, and that's just, I mean, I'll never turn out a limo, I'll say that, and I think that's something that, I really do look, I want to really jump over on some more late model races if the opportunity happens.
Have you gotten an invite to the Denny Hamlin race yet?
No, I don't. That's I don't race a ton of late model stuff, so I'm not really invited to that stuff. But I know I didn't get an invitation to Showdown or whatever it is. Yeah, Showdown, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's a shame because you would make a definite hit with people out there.
Yeah, it was like a fun race with all the guys that show up, and looks really competitive, and it definitely was a cool race.
Now, let's see. I'm sitting here looking through all your stuff you had last year. Of course, with the youngest race, the youngest pole. You also got some track records now too at Gateway and Loudon for being a track record holder at both those places. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Have you discussed anything for the next season about possibly staying on with Junior Motorsports, or maybe going up to his Xfinity Series team that he has?
We think that we're going to, for sure be skiing with Junior Motorsports, but, it's, we're not for sure on exactly what I'll be doing next year. It's still pretty far in the future, and we're just kind of trying to focus on what we're doing right now, which is, Dover in the next few weeks, and trying to win our swim races this year.
Good deal. Now, other than your father, who have you looked up to be sort of a mentor for you for your racing?
Well, I've had a lot of people help me coming up through the series, and I mean, I guess my childhood heroes, I guess in NASCAR would be kind of Johnny Sauter and Jason Leffler. I always kind of looked up to those two guys, and those are kind of my heroes, I guess.
Now, finishing up at Martinsville, give us your feedback on the Martinsville race that you had.
Well, it was a really up and down day. We started second, and then we got a speeding penalty on pit road while we were in second, and we had to go to the very back. Then we got back to the top 10. Then we went to pit road and had another speeding penalty, so went back again. And then we got, and with about 5 to go, we got back up there and we took the lead. And just, classic Martinsville stuff, the bump and run and payback, and we got some payback, and we got spun there with about 3 to go leading, and ended up 16th, and that was it was a good day for us. Just we showed we had a lot of speed, and we just got to look forward to the next race.
Well, you definitely passed a lot of cars that day.
Yep.
You passed some trucks too.
Trucks too. Okay. Well, it's passed a lot of race vehicles.
Cole, when did you move from California to North Carolina?
At the start of last summer.
Okay. So you grew up basically in Southern, well, you're not growing up yet, you're still a kid, but you sort of grew up in Southern California. We've heard a lot back east about the car culture, the fact that cars are such a big deal in Southern California, that the beaches, the cars, the surfing. Is that still a fairly prevalent lifestyle, or do kids not gravitate toward cars out there quite as much as they used to?
I mean, maybe classic cars and just regular street cars. People might, people get into that kind of stuff, but really racing, it's definitely not as big out there, let's say, as on the East Coast. You have to, I hear you have 3 or 4 tracks in North Carolina and Virginia, and real close. So in California, we have about 2 tracks that are 2 hours away. So it's there's not as much racing out there, but it's definitely you still got some enough to have a great competition, and that's that's all you need.
My last question before I let you go: do you miss not having In-N-Out burgers close by?
I was waiting for that.
I do. That's probably the thing I miss the most.
See, I'm so glad you said that, because every time I talk to somebody on this program who has any presence on the West Coast at all, I always mention that, and everybody unanimously says we miss them, we wish they were here, they're the greatest thing in the world. And some of my co-hosts don't think it's that big a deal, but it is a big deal. It would be like somebody from the East Coast moving to California and not being able to have barbecue. I mean, it's a big deal. You got to have an In-N-Out burger. I mean,
it's definitely it's the best by far.
Not even close. Absolutely. I'm so glad you agree. All right. Oh, that's a good closing note right there.
One of these days I'll have to find the closest one near a racetrack, and
it's in Texas. The closest you can get in Texas. When you go to Dover in about a month or so, Cole, there's a place called Sambo's. You ever been to Sambo's?
I haven't.
Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't heard of it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Ask your dad. Ask anybody on any of your teams about Sambo's. That's an experience you can't miss. So go to Sambo's. You'll enjoy it.
All right. Cool.
you never told me about Sambo's at Denver.
You're on your own. You're a big guy. You're on your own. All right. Thanks for calling in. Have a good. I know you don't enjoy having a little break before your next race, but enjoy it as much as you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for having me on the show, guys.
Go ahead and give a quick shout out to your sponsors, and then we'll get you out of here.
Yes, I thank Gene Haas and Haas Automation, everybody at JL Motorsports, and Napa on the King Empire with Bill Mancinelli and Wiley X. And can't thank them enough for making this deal all go around.
All right. Well, we'll catch you at the next race then, Cole.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, let's go eat. Well, it's 8 o'clock.
I know. I was at 7:59. Still got 1 minute.
That's wrong.
Set to nuclear time. Oh, just went to 8. Oh well. What can I say? Anything else you wanted to cover real quick?
You think that's better than my Goodyear watch?
Your Goodyear watch?
No, I'm ready to go. I think
All
we
right.
covered it all. We got 4 pretty good guests.
All right.
2 of them from up north, and 1 from California, and 1 from...
And you got to talk about In-N-Out Burger.
Absolutely.
You're in like Flint.
Okay.
All right. Catch everybody next week on Let's Talk Racing.
We're sorry the check wasn't here. Y'all got to put up with us.